My name is Clara Monroe, and the night I saved a dying man on the floor of a chaotic emergency room was the night my entire life changed. I was a nobody, a poor nurse working double shifts in a crumbling public hospital, invisible to the world, drowning in debt, and barely holding it together for my 7-year-old daughter. I wasn't looking for recognition. I wasn't looking for miracles. I just wanted to survive one more shift without crying in the supply closet. But then, right before midnight, the hospital doors flew open like a scene from a movie. A man stumbled in, rain-soaked, blood running down his shirt, hands trembling, eyes wild with panic. People moved aside like he was invisible, a drunk, a junkie, someone to avoid. Even a receptionist didn't flinch, security didn't bother. But I looked into his eyes and saw something that didn't fit the rest. He was scared, not high scared. He collapsed into my arms and whispered something I'll never forget. "Please don't call them, they'll find me." Then he lost consciousness. I screamed for a gurney, but the other nurses just stared. One even muttered, "Just another stray." I didn't care what they thought. I dragged him into trauma room 3 and started CPR myself. Blood soaked my scrubs. My hands were numb, but I wasn't going to let him die. Not on my watch. He flatlined twice. I brought him back, both times. Nobody thanked me. They didn't even help until the attending showed up. We had no ID, no wallet, no name. So they labeled him John Doe. But to me, he was someone. And I stayed by his side the entire night. I wiped the blood from his hands. I whispered to him, even when he couldn't hear. And when he finally stabilized, I exhaled for the first time in hours. He had made it. But I thought that was the end of it. I thought I'd saved a nobody. Turns out, I had saved everything. 2 days later, a convoy of black SUVs pulled into the hospital parking lot. Security teams stormed the lobby. Photographers, assistants, and a man in a $1,000 coat demanded access to trauma room 3. They were looking for someone, Jonathan Blackwell. I froze. The Jonathan Blackwell, tech billionaire, CEO of Orbis Dynamics, a man worth $78 billion, missing for 48 hours. And I had saved him without even knowing who he was. The entire hospital flipped upside down. Doctors who refused to treat him were now begging to be seen with him. Nurses who rolled their eyes at his bloodied coat now posed for selfies. They changed his bed linens 4 times in 2 hours. Suddenly, everyone remembered how heroic they were. Everyone but me. I stayed away. I didn't belong in that crowd. Not with my old shoes, my tired face, my paycheck that didn't even cover daycare. But he remembered me. He asked to speak with me alone. When I entered his room, he looked calm. Older than I expected, but calm. "Why'd you save me?" he asked. I blinked. "Because you were dying." He studied my face like he was trying to memorize it. Most people wouldn't have. I shrugged. "I'm not like most people." He nodded once. "Don't disappear," he said. I laughed. "Sir, disappearing is all I've ever done." He didn't laugh. He just said, "Not anymore." Then he left. I didn't expect to see him again. Until the letter came. No return address. No fancy envelope. Just my name in handwritten ink. Inside was a note. And a deed. To Clara Monroe. "You saved my life. Not just my body, but my faith. Please find and close the deed to a clinic I've purchased in your name. It's funded. It's yours. I trust you. Run it your way. Let it be a sanctuary, like you were for me. J. Blackwell." I fell to my knees. I wept like a child, because for once in my life, someone had seen me. Not my uniform, not my pay grade. Me. Monroe Health Center opened 3 months later. We treated everyone, no questions asked. No ID required. No billing tricks. Just care. Real care. And patients came from everywhere. People who'd been forgotten. Just like me. We saved lives. We built trust. We became hope. But peace doesn't last forever. Strange things started happening. A black SUV parked near the clinic every morning. The same car. The same window tint. no plates. Then someone broke into my house. They didn't take anything. They didn't even touch the jewelry box. But they left a note. 5 words. No signature. You weren't supposed to live. My blood froze. I didn't sleep that night. I barely breathed. I tried to reach Jonathan, but his emails bounced. His company wouldn't connect me. It was like he vanished. I asked a contact at the police department to dig around. He called me back whispering, "You didn't hear this from me, but Jonathan Blackwell is off-grid. Willingly or not, no one knows." Then I remembered something. The last thing Jonathan said before they took him out of the ER. Barely conscious, barely audible. He grabbed my wrist and whispered, "Don't trust anyone. They did this to me. They did this to me." I started looking into Orbis Dynamics. Corporate shell after shell. Subsidiaries in foreign countries. Private military contracts. Then I found something buried in a leaked financial report. A failed medical AI project. Shut down the week before Jonathan disappeared. With billions in unaccounted assets. And a list of whistleblowers. My name was at the bottom. Only I never worked for them. I never knew I was on the list. Until now. That's when I realized. Saving Jonathan wasn't the miracle. It was the mistake. I wasn't supposed to help him. He was supposed to die. And because I didn't let him die, now I'm the target. I can feel it. I'm being followed. Phones click when I answer. Emails disappear. A man approached my daughter after school. Said he was a family friend. We've never had one. I packed a bag that night. Told my daughter we were going on vacation. But I wasn't running. I was protecting. And now, I have only one mission. Find out who tried to kill Jonathan Blackwell. And why. Because if I don't, they will erase me. Erase my clinic. Erase everything. But here's the twist. I may be a nurse. I may be poor. But I saved the life of a man the world wanted gone. And I'm going to finish what I started. Because somewhere out there, Jonathan Blackwell is still alive. And the people who tried to silence us. You're about to learn the cost of underestimating someone who has nothing left to lose. You know how people say the truth will set you free? They never tell you that first. It tries to destroy you. When I saved Jonathan Blackwell, I thought I was just doing my job. But it turns out, I stepped into a world I was never meant to see. A world of money, betrayal, and silence, thick, heavy silence. And now, they were coming for me. We disappeared, my daughter and I. Left the clinic behind, the city, my entire life. I burned the SIM cards, ditched the car, paid cash for everything. I became someone else. But no matter how far I ran, the shadows followed. Because secrets like Jonathan's, they don't die quietly. I found him 3 months later. Or, he found me. It happened in a ghost town in Montana. No internet, no cameras, just a P.O. box and a one-room schoolhouse. I was walking back from the market when a dusty truck pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, and I saw him. Thinner, bearded, but unmistakably Jonathan Blackwell. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me, and I burst into tears. We sat in a church basement for 6 hours. He told me everything. He hadn't disappeared by choice. After Orbis Dynamics pulled the plug on a classified AI experiment, one that could predict civil unrest before it happened, he refused to sign off on their plan to sell the tech to military contractors overseas. They saw him as a threat. They tried to eliminate him. And when I saved his life, I became one too. The note. You weren't supposed to live. It wasn't just a warning. It was a verdict. I asked him what we should do. Run? Hide? Fight? He looked me in the eyes and said something I'll never forget. We exposed them. Not for revenge, but because the truth belongs to everyone. I didn't sleep for 3 nights, but I agreed. We didn't go to the police. We went to the only place left that couldn't be bought. Independent journalists. Jonathan gave them encrypted drives, financial records, audio tapes, emails, a full confession, with my testimony to back it up. And then we vanished again. this time together. 2 weeks later, the story broke. Orbis whistleblower reveals billionaire murder plot. Exclusive: tech mogul's near-death and the nurse who saved him. My name was everywhere. So was my face. They offered me book deals, TV interviews, even a movie. I turned them all down, because this was never about fame. It was about the truth. But the storm didn't end there. Orbis Dynamics collapsed within days. Federal investigations swept in. 3 board members were arrested. 1 fled the country. Another took his own life. The world watched. Justice finally had teeth. And through it all, Jonathan and I stayed hidden. Until last week, I returned to Monroe Health Center. Walked through the front doors like I'd never left. Patients waiting. Staff hugging me. A plaque on the wall now read, "Founded by Clara Monroe. A heart that wouldn't quit." And then I saw it. A man in the lobby, reading a newspaper. No suit. No guards. Just a slight smile. "Jonathan." We didn't speak. We didn't have to. Everything we needed was in that moment. But just as I turned to head back to my office, a nurse handed me a sealed envelope. No name. No handwriting. Just a crimson wax seal. Inside was a photograph. Jonathan, tied to a chair, a gun to his head, and written on the back, 6 chilling words. "You exposed the lie. Now run." I looked up, he was gone. The chair in the lobby empty. No one remembered seeing him. My hands shook. My breath caught. And suddenly I knew. It wasn't over. They were still out there. The ones Jonathan feared most. And now they had him again. But this time they made a mistake. Because they took the man I saved. And now, I'm coming to finish what I started. I'm not just a nurse anymore. I'm the witness. I'm the voice. And I've got nothing left to lose. To be continued in The Nurse's Revenge. In a world where silence is bought and lives are sold, one act of compassion can ignite a revolution. But when the truth is dangerous, telling it becomes the most courageous thing you'll ever do. Were you thrilled with the story? Subscribe to the Crime Files Uncovered channel for more exciting stories.